Hi all, I'm Al Deldegan, the creator and producer of the Libby podcast. This 100% volunteer-run show was born out of the Rainforest Alberta movement and features incredible people who are leaders, innovators, and have big ideas. This episode is hosted by Rea Hailley, and it is the 18th episode of her series. Today, her guest is Daniella Jasper-Okumagba. Rea, the mic is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rea Hailley, co-founder of New Idea Machine. We help founders turn their expertise into software that actually works, so you can build smarter, launch faster, and save thousands. Welcome to 5 Questions and 1 Wild Story, fempreneurs to watch for. Today's fempreneur is Daniella Jasper-Okumagba. Hi, Daniella. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. All right, Daniella, let's dive in. What do you do and why is it important?
I own a catering management company, also what I like to call a catering concierge, that works to make ethnic food, everyday food. So we're a catering and food service space, bring together multicultural caterers together to make sure that their catering and their food, their recipes are seen on mainstream.
That's incredible. And what brought you to this journey?
Yeah, I would say I found that there was a lack of ethnic food representation when it comes to events and schools and industrial areas, and that ethnic restaurants in general are just struggling. And after spending a lot of time talking with them, understanding their problem, I just fell in love with supporting them and making sure that their food and their recipes are seen in front of more people, and that we're saved from the treacherous charcuterie boards and dry sandwiches at every conference that we attend.
Yes, it does get dull after a while.
Absolutely.
What surprised you the most about becoming an entrepreneur?
The amount of lessons you have to learn. I think it's funny at the beginning, you're actually so naive and being so passionate about your idea. You think once it gets out there, everybody's going to jump on it and love it. But learning how to communicate with people, learning what your strengths are, learning on where to put your money, where not to put your money, and how important it is to seek wisdom and seek advice from those who are more educated in the area. And I didn't expect to go through so much of a learning curve, but I found that I actually love the learning. I think it exposes more of what I don't know, and it makes me more excited for what I create with the added knowledge that I absorb. And I think I'd heard that not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur, but I do think that it does teach you a lot about who you are. It pushes your limits and it exposes what you're really capable of.
Yes, I believe that I've learned more as an entrepreneur than I have ever learned in university.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think it's funny that whenever I look back on some of the long nights that I was alone or felt like I was doing so much work, I didn't really realize like how much that was pruning me to prepare for becoming a leader and being able to communicate what that looks like to people that would be working with me. So I think it's part of the journey. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Did you ever think you'd be here?
Absolutely not. I remember taking an entrepreneurship class and thinking I'm never going to be a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs. But I think the competitiveness, I've been an athlete my whole life. And that competitive nature is perfect for entrepreneurship. I feel like any student athlete that was an athlete at a very high level can be an entrepreneur. It just takes that one idea to spark it. And it could take, I don't know, somebody doing a cartwheel or a family member saying something in a different way that just sparks ignites a flame in someone to just keep going for something and not stop until they see it come to fruition. Yeah, I'm excited. I love what I do.
That's awesome. Okay, how many times did you want to quit, if at all? And if so, what kept you going?
I wouldn't say I ever wanted to quit. I think I've had moments or I've had a moment or two where I was incredibly unmotivated. I think that's burnout is. I didn't understand how to work for it at the time. But where I looked at my computer, I don't want to do anything that day. But I have a 24-hour rule for myself. Whenever I face a rough day in general as an entrepreneur, I take that day, I feel all the feelings. I get sad, do whatever I need to do, but the next day, I just jump right back into it. I just see a vision of what my company should become. And I'm so driven by that. And also all the people that I work with, all my chefs, I know all their stories. I know how many kids they have. I know why they started their businesses. And I take that on as my own fuel. And I just feel I'm building something not just for me, but for so many kids like me in elementary, junior high, that would love to see their food represented and see their teachers taste jollof rice or an empanada and understand what we're eating at home. I think with how diverse Canada is, I think this is an area that can really transform how the world sees us, absorbing all these different cultures. And I'm just incredibly passionate about it. Because there's nothing anybody can do to stop me unless you physically hold me back or someone locks my room. I'll find a way to get the cord across and you reach out to a pigeon or something like that.
I love that. I think that passion is needed because that's what keeps you going. Because entrepreneurship, we all know. And I think unless you've tried it, you may not fully grasp just how tough it is. Because there are days that can break someone. And it's so easy to throw in the towel. But it's that passion and that like obsession that keeps you going when it's so much easier to just quit and curl up in bed and cry.
That's exactly it. It is an obsession, I think. From the beginning, I think every entrepreneur sees the vision of what they want to create, but they don't understand the long loops of battles you're going to have to go through to eventually get there. And that never going to give up mentality, you just have to maintain it. I think it's giving yourself again. Like I've been personally doing this my whole life where I just don't hold on to grudges and don't hold on to negative experiences. But as human, I just feel it. You can't mask your disappointments, your frustration, but feel it. But then tomorrow isn't a brand new day and you got to start over.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have someone that you can confide in?
Yeah, I think I have mentors in different areas of my life. I think when it comes to business relationships and wisdom in that area, I reach out to my dad. When it comes to spiritual or finding some other way to motivate myself, I have a mentor from my church. When it comes to marketing, I have some of my friends from college that they're in the space. They're able to give me bounce ideas off. When it comes to finances, I have my actual manager that loves to remind me that I handle my numbers. And as much as I've hated hearing that over the years, I understand why he says that now. So I think it's one of those things where the people who say the same things over and over again, I realize that there is a little bit of wisdom why I keep repeating it. It's just continuing my ears to listen as I get older. But yeah, they're very big about having advisors and mentors that I can turn to.
Yeah, it's crucial. What are people most surprised to learn about you?
My age. Ever since in the beginning, I remember I had a meeting with a delivery company owner and he was a little bit late. And I sat there and he was looking around the entire coffee shop for me and eventually texted me and I waved at him. He came up to me thinking like, oh, you're Daniella. Yeah. So I was expecting me to be like 35 or 37 or something like that. But I think they are surprised by my age and my optimism. Like I'm an optimist at heart. I don't hold on to a lot of negative things. I think my parents raised me that way. But yeah, I think I've learned very early. Both my parents are entrepreneurs, but they're both optimists. They both believe you get the best out of the life from what you put into it. If you wanted to fly tomorrow, if you really put your heart into it, you could fly tomorrow. The parents that raised me. And yeah, energy. That's also what people know me for. My energy and my charisma is how I communicate with people.
Yeah. Awesome. And what advice would you give other female entrepreneurs?
I would say don't be afraid to ask questions. I think I found that as women, sometimes we're so good at gathering information, but when we don't know something, we're not as open to reach out to those that may be able to give us any kind of advice. I believe in asking. And maybe you're not going to always get the answer that you want. You pick one thing from each person and then you make a decision yourself. And I think that it's really important that as you grow your business and looking at what you want it to become, looking at others who have done it or are doing very well in a specific area and not being afraid to ask them or reach out to them. People are so much more willing to give you advice core free in this world. And the internet is filled with people all over the world that are doing so well. And you don't need to have a consultation with $30,000 or $2,000 to be able to give you the advice that you need to get you to the next step. I think we all, at some point, because it's very early in entrepreneurship, we're waiting for someone to give us that advice that just sparks and takes the next level overnight. It's just never going to happen. If it does, it's not going to be sustainable. Just remembering that it's a journey in who you need to become the vision that you have, not just in who needs to feed you the information. And I think my character development has been a great catalyst for the milestones we've been able to hit so far.
Amazing. Amazing. Do you just reach out to people that you don't know and just say, hi, I'm Daniella. This is what I'm working on. I need help.
I mean, for me, most of the time it's networking. I did a lot of networking this year and last year, and then people connected me. But also the founders putting myself out there. But then is an incredible platform for people who are intentional about their connections and seeking people who have similar connections or some people they know, similar industries. And so when I put myself out there, people are more likely to reach out to me. I remember the cohort that I got into last year was for me just posting. And Owen in Edmonton was just so captivated by my idea that she pushed to have me accepted or to apply for this cohort. I ended up getting in, and I was exposed to so many other entrepreneurs. They're able to pour so much wisdom into me, more time. And so I really think it comes from putting yourself out there and not being afraid to look like a learner, right? We're always learning. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I recently started doing cold outreach on LinkedIn, and I was terrified, absolutely terrified to do it. But I thought, okay, again, it's that obsession, that passion, right? I thought I have to do this. And I reached out, I think, to 5 or 6 people. And then the whole time I was cringing, and then I walked away from my computer. And the very next day, someone actually responded. And I thought, oh my God.
Look at that.
Yes. And you're right. People do want to help. And if you have something that can help people, they're interested, right? Like I think it's how you approach it. You may not necessarily be approaching them to sell, but you're approaching them to say, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about. Do you have anyone in your network that could benefit from this?
Yeah. And my dad always kind of reminds me that it's your mindset going into it, right? These are also human beings.
Yeah.
They're also on a platform trying to meet other people as well. So whatever you know is one step closer to your yes. I think the biggest thing I learned is not taking it personally. People are going to have changed their mind. You might plant a seed that, there's a lady I met actually that messaged me a while ago. So I would just see it as planting a seed. You can't have a harvest without planting some seeds first, right?
Yeah, I love that. And especially every no is a step closer to a yes.
That's exactly it.
I love that quote. All right, Daniella, what's your one wild story?
Oh, this is funny. When you asked me this at the beginning, I was like, okay, what do I want to share? I think what my biggest spell or the biggest spell that helped me get or pivot my mindset or the way I structured my business to what it is now. And it was an event that we did where we were incredibly late. We were mumbled and jumbled with communication. And we had a catering breakfast for a business meeting or something like that for 20, 30 people at 7 a.m. So they were supposed to be ready to go at 7 a.m. Food, coffee, everything's ready. And we weren't even prepared until 7:45. Oh. Yeah, and so I remember this so vividly. She pulls me into this room, shuts the door, and she goes, what happened? And in my mind, we're stammering, like, then couldn't know that anything to say. We're supposed to do lunch for that afternoon. And I had to come up with something and say, hey, this is not going to happen. I promise you. I don't know what happened this morning. And the lunch ended up going just as bad. So it was happened. And so you remember she canceled the next day. And I remember just thinking, wow. And this is like the worst of how it can ever get. Because with catering, you're not just feeding one person that's hungry. You're feeding like 30, 300 people. So anything is late. Like, it's not a small problem. It's a very big problem that they put on the person that actually hired us. So it allowed me to understand, okay, what do I want my USP to be? How can I prevent this from happening ever again? What kind of things do I need to put in place? And it was the direct catalyst, that they always use that word catalyst, the direct catalyst for how we're so successful now, what makes the Burnstone different, why our customers rely on us, how much care. And I think I had to go through that. And the moment, it sucked really bad. Really bad. I felt she was really pissed at me, obviously. But I think the next day, I told her to take it personally. I had to reach out to her. I'm sure if she were to see us now, or so she wanted to give us another shot.
Wow.
I'm all over customers so far.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think we all have those moments where it's like everything goes wrong and you're like, I swear, this is not who we typically are. But it happens. It's just part of life. Have you ever thought of sending her a little note to say, thank you for that blessing? I'm so sorry again But thank you for that blessing. Because of that experience, look at where we are now.
That's a great idea. I actually have it because I think I was a little bit traumatized for a cool one. I sent her, I think the next day I sent her an email saying, I really apologize for the whole thing. If there's anything I could do in the future to have any type of event on me. And she just said, I think she was still a little bit too fresh.
Yeah.
So maybe I think now, maybe I'd be more willing to reach out to her, maybe offer some pequeños or something like that. Or, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And how long ago was that?
That was, I think, a year and a half. It's just over a year now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think, we have done enough time to settle. Hopefully, she sees my name in the inbox and she's not too upset. But yeah, I really think you're right. I really do thank her for that. Because without that experience, I think I would have believed that everything I was doing was perfect.
Yeah. It's funny because it reminds me of things when I first started. We were talking about this earlier, Daniella. I'm the co-founder of New Idea Machine, but I was working other jobs, and only recently have I been 100% employed by New Idea Machine. I was trying to find who our ideal customers are, what our messaging should be. And for a while, we had some players in the industry that were copying everything that I was sharing online. And I thought, what the heck? Well, how is this happening? And I was so upset about it, and I was so frustrated. And then I would change my messaging again, and they would get copied again. And so this went on for some time. And then after a while, I thought, okay, I have to change my mindset on this. This is happening for a reason. What's the lesson in this? And for me, the lesson was, you're not different enough. If you're truly different enough, nobody can copy you. Nobody. And I thought, so let's go back to, why am I doing this? Why am I so passionate about this? And the more I delved into that, the more our messaging changed, and the more our ideal clients became clearer, and the types of projects we want to work on became clearer. The busier we started getting. It's amazing how many things shifted. And so I look back at that experience. At the time, I was so frustrated and angry and bitter. And now I think, oh, it was a blessing. Because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? My mom always says this, but there can't be another you.
Yes.
I think the way we come up with ideas, the way we think things through, yes, we want to replicate that. But when it comes to a brand or people's connection to a brand, there's nobody that can replace how you make them feel. And I think that's always makes me bring me a little bit of comfort whenever I start to see a little bit of competitors coming up for people trying to make their own little smaller things. We're just kind of calling them what we're creating, and people that are impacting, right?
Yeah. Your parents sound like they're awesome. I'd love to meet them.
Yeah, it's funny, like growing up, and my dad especially, he always said the same things all the time. And I'm just like, okay, Dad, I get it, whatever, thanks. And my mom as well. My mom has always been a serial entrepreneur and never understood why. Don't know why. Just sit at somewhere and get a job. No, why not just have something simple? And now I just learned, it's like, they just believe that there's so much you can get from life. And there are a lot of people that get stuck in the mindset of being, just taking what life hands to them. And I'm grateful that I think it was like maybe over 3 years ago, before I started this business, I remember I literally called my dad, or before I called my dad, I thought, okay, let me act as no to say this time. He's going to say the same thing, but let me actually key to what he's actually trying to say to me. And after that cold call, that's exactly when I had the idea, okay, I'm starting this. I can do it. I think every kid has that with their parents. And it just comes to, maybe it's when you have a kid, you're like, oh, maybe I can actually call my mom and at least you've done this before. I feel like every kid has that moment. I'm just grateful for me. It was this area.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you, Daniella. Thank you for coming on the show and for sharing your journey and telling us about your incredible parents and your amazing success. Congrats. I can't wait to see what you build next. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Why not become a podcast host yourself? Libby is a community podcast, and we would love to have your voice as a host or a guest. Check out show.libby.ca for more information, show notes, and links for every episode.
This episode is brought to you by New Idea Machine, a unique blend of a tech incubator and a software development powerhouse. We're not just building software, we're crafting the next generation of homegrown tech wizards. Got a project in mind or looking to hire fresh talent? Reach out and let's make tech magic happen. Visit newideamachine.com for more info.
Music for the show was created by Tony Del Deegan.